Hey, this is Steve Halleck with TikToking.com with another cool review for you. Please like the YouTube channel, subscribe, comment if you have any questions, and check out my website. I've got a lot of cool watches on there, tons of other videos. There's a bunch of videos on here. So yeah, just check me out. Today I have a really rare and very cool watch. This watch is by Jaquet Droz, which is not necessarily one of my favorite brands, but I think this is easily the coolest watch that they've made. This is called the Seconde Paillonnee, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on some other details of the watch, but let's just go through it really quickly because the star of this is really the dial. But it uses a really nice automatic movement. It's a FPK movement, which similar to what Blancpain uses. These are both Swatch Group companies. And they own this movement manufacturer that makes really some of the highest end automatic movements in the world. The rotor's finished nicely with that nice engraving. The case is white gold, and you can see it's everything's sort of very nicely finished and nicely done, but it's not terribly interesting enough to warrant a lot of time in this review. The crown is this cool kind of half onion crown. There's probably a name for this, but I don't know what it is. And the dial is, the actual time dial is bolted on. So people used to compare these with François Paul Journe a lot. Jaquet Droz has been around for a very long time. They made pocket watches over 100 years ago, and they've always kind of had this style, so they didn't copy it from François Paul Journe, but it is a very similar aesthetic with the dials sort of bolted on to a main dial plate. Anyway, let's get to this main dial plate because it's spectacular. So this is called the Paillonnee, and that refers to this enamel technique that you see. Now, as far as my research shows, I'm certainly not an enamel expert, but it seems as if only one person in the world is actually capable of this sort of enamel. She's considered by many to be the best enameler in the world. She lives in Switzerland, and she made 8 pieces like this. I think there's also 8 in rose gold, and maybe they've done a couple more. But basically, enamel is it's kind of like a mixture between paint and a ceramic. And what happens is you get this colored glass that you kind of crush very finely into a powder and make a paint out of it. And then it has to be applied in layers and fired like in a kiln to harden as it goes. So you can see that the base layer here is this gorgeous blue color. I hope it's showing up well in the video. But it's this beautiful blue. And in fact, underneath that, you can see that the dial is finished underneath in this nice sunray pattern. So you can catch these little waves underneath, and they really catch the light and play with it in person. It's pretty hard to pick up on a video. But so Paillonnee refers to these little design things which are actually called paillons. And these paillons are actually over 200 years old. They were handmade in gold, and she has the only remaining stock of these things. So basically the little designs are, they're from the 18th century, I believe, and she has a bunch of different designs, and they're all kind of cataloged together. And the way to get this dial is as you are building up the enamel, these each have to be hand laid into this design. So you can imagine, first of all, you have to make the design and make something that looks cool out of them. But then imagine by hand and with a pair of tweezers having to perfectly lay each piece of this in to a enamel surface that isn't fired yet. So if you mess up where you put it down at all, you wreck the whole dial. So it has to be laid down exactly perfectly, each one of these things into this design, and then a layer of clear enamel is put on top of it, and it's fired in. It's unbelievably beautiful in person. Just one of the most spectacular dials I've ever seen. And these watches are really special because they just they have a ton of handwork, and it's really like an art piece within a watch. It's kind of everything that we love about mechanical watches. And people try to say that watches are art, and a lot of times they're not. They're just kind of products. But this really is an art piece. And it happens to be in the form of a watch, which is something that you can wear, which makes it really cool. But let me show you also on the wrist. The other cool thing is it's not a dainty watch by any means. I forgot to double check the size before doing this. I'll put it down in the comments. I'm pretty sure it's either 42 or 44. And you can see that there's a very thin bezel, so the dial is actually most of the watch. And let me put it on my wrist for you. And you can see that it actually wears pretty big and is, has a lot of wrist presence. So there you can see on the wrist, this is just a spectacular piece. It's one of my favorites that I've come across. And, if you have a chance to see one of these in person, you've just got to check it out because there's nothing else like it. So again, this is the Jaquet Droz Grande Seconde Paillonnee, and this is one of 8 pieces in white gold. And if you see one, congratulate the owner because it's a very special piece. Thanks.